Adhesives. A. Can't be used in the form of pressure-sensitive tapes. B. Can't join two dissimilar metals. C. Cure instantaneously after application on a surface. D. None of these. The correct answer is none of these. In a counterflow heat exchanger, hot fluid enters at 170 C, leaves at 150 C, while the cold fluid enters at 50 C, leaves at 70 C. The arithmetic mean temperature difference in this case is C. A 20. B 60. C 120. D. The correct answer is normalizing of a casting does not A. Induce stresses in it. B. Refine its grain structure. C. Reduce segregation. D. Improve its mechanical properties. The correct answer is induce stresses in it. The Swift cup test evaluates the following property of a sheet metal. A. Stretchability. B. Drawability. C. Bendability. D. None of these. The correct answer is drawability. Is the most important element which controls the physical properties of steel. A. Manganese. B. Silicon. C. Carbon. D. Vanadium. The correct answer is carbon. The EMF of a Deniell cell can be increased by A. Decreasing the surface area of the electrodes. B. Increasing the concentration of zinc sulfate solution. C. Increasing the surface area of the electrodes. D. Increasing the concentration of copper sulfate solution. The correct answer is increasing the concentration of copper sulfate solution. A hot short metal is A. Hard when hot. B. Brittle when cold. C. Brittle when hot. D. Brittle under all conditions. The correct answer is brittle when hot. Corrosion rate cannot be lowered by reducing the of the corroding medium. A. Concentration. B. Velocity. C. Temperature. D. None of these. The correct answer is concentration. Routing in production planning control is concerned with the A. Sequence of operation to be performed. B. Progress of work performed. C. Authorization of work to be performed. D. Balancing of load on machines. The correct answer is sequence of operation to be performed. A fire tube boiler is limited to a maximum steam pressure of about kg/cm2. A. 6. B. 18. C. 38. D. 52. The correct answer is 18. The total frictional resistance to fluid flow does not depend upon the A. Roughness of the surface. B. Fluid pressure. C. Fluid density. D. Fluid velocity. The correct answer is fluid pressure. Stretcher strains found in a low-carbon sheet are associated with the A. Texture. B. Dislocation density. C. Yield point phenomenon. D. Thickness of the sheet. The correct answer is yield point phenomenon. The most important consideration while designing the refrigeration system of an aircraft is that the refrigeration system A. is as light as possible. B. has very high COP. C. employs minimum quantity of refrigerant. D. consumer minimum horsepower. The correct answer is as light as possible. Though tin occurs lower than iron in the electrochemical series, yet it is coated on steel for corrosion protection because of its A. lower cost. B. abundant availability. C. resistance to vegetable acids, as the tin plate are commercially used in canning industry. D. none of these. The correct answer is resistance to vegetable acids, as the tin plate are commercially used in canning industry. Which of the following is resistant to the action of both heat chemicals? A. borosilicate glass. B. silica glass. C. soda lime glass. D. none of these. The correct answer is borosilicate glass. Metallic surveying tapes are made of which has a low coefficient of expansion enough strength. A. Invar. B. Hasty alloy. C. Duralumin. D. Monel metal. The correct answer is Invar. Which of the following is a unit of time? A. Barn. B. Light year. C. Angstrom. D. None of these. The correct answer is none of these. Furnace is generally used in the non-ferrous foundries. A. Direct arc. B. Indirect arc. C. Resistance. D. Induction. The correct answer is indirect arc. Steel cast iron pipes are produced by casting. A. Slush. B. Die. C. Investment. D. True centrifugal. The correct answer is true centrifugal. The taper provided on pattern for its easy clean withdrawal from the mold is termed as the allowance. A. Casting. B. Pattern. C. Draft. D. Distortion. The correct answer is draft. Gas turbine normally employs a constant cycle. A. Pressure. B. Temperature. C. Volume. D. None of these. The correct answer is pressure. Which of the following relationships is correct for relating the three elastic constants of an isotropic elastic material where E. Young's modulus, G. Modulus of rigidity or shear modulus, V. Poissons ratio? A. E2G1V. B. EG1V. C. EG1V2. D. E2G12V. The correct answer is E2G1V. Electrostatic separation of minerals from each other is based on their differences in the following property. A. Densities. B. Magnetic permeabilities. C. Electrical conductivities. D. Hardness. The correct answer is electrical conductivities. Natural water contains approximately % of heavy water. A. 0.015. B. 0.71. C. 1.2. D. 3.5. The correct answer is 0.015. The minimum temperature to which the water can be cooled in a cooling tower is the temperature of air. A. Ambient. B. Dry bulb. C. Dew point. D. Wet bulb. The correct answer is dew point. The order of a chemical reaction. A. Can be determined only experimentally. B. Can be determined from the stoichiometry of the reaction. C. Cannot be zero. D. Can be fractional. The correct answer is can be determined from the stoichiometry of the reaction. Pick out the wrong statement. A. Lead can creep under its own weight at room temperature. B. The electrical conductivity of gold is considerably reduced by alloying additions due to the decrease in electron movement. C. Recrystallization temperature decreases with decrease in strain in a cold worked metal. D. With increase in temperature the electrical conductivity of intrinsic semiconductor will increase. The correct answer is recrystallization temperature decreases with decrease in strain in a cold worked metal. Pick out the wrong statement. A. Reflectivity of gases is very low. B. Absorptivity for metals is very high. C. Reflectivity for non-conducting materials is low. D. Reflectivity of polished surfaces is very high. The correct answer is absorptivity for metals is very high. For efficient performance of a blast furnace the extent of reduction of Wustite Fe O should be A. 100 indirect reduction. B. 100 direct reduction. C. 50-60 indirect reduction. D. 30-40 indirect reduction. The correct answer is 50-60 indirect reduction. Identify the false statement. A. Martensitic steels are less susceptible to pitting corrosion than austenitic steels. B. Pitting corrosion is usually very localized. C. Hydrogen embrittlement is facilitated by tensile stress. D. Stress corrosion cracking is facilitated by tensile stress. The correct answer is martensitic steels are less susceptible to pitting corrosion than austenitic steels. Can replace tungsten in high-speed steel. A. Chromium. B. Vanadium. C. Cobalt. D. Molybdenum. The correct answer is cobalt. Production of 1 ton of paper in Indian paper industry consumes about kWh of electricity. A. 300. B. 800. C. 1400. D. 2000. The correct answer is 1400. Fatigue strength of a material cannot be increased by A. Cold working. B. Hot working. C. Short peening. D. Any of these. The correct answer is hot working. Steel rods are normally used for concrete reinforcement because concrete and steel have almost equal A. Tensile strength. B. Compressive strength. C. Young's modulus. D. Thermal coefficient of expansion. The correct answer is thermal coefficient of expansion. Out of the following, the refractive index is the highest for A. Glass. B. Diamond. C. Brine. D. Kerosene. The correct answer is diamond. Function of blow-down valve in a boiler is to A. Maintain the drum level. B. Keep the drum pressure constant. C. Drain out the sludge from the drum. D. Empty the boiler during shutdown. The correct answer is drain out the sludge from the drum. Insulation of liquid surface can be achieved by on top of its surface A. Floating hollow polypropylene spheres. B. Spraying alumina powder. C. Putting cement. D. None of these. The correct answer is floating hollow polypropylene spheres. Consider an ideal solution of components A and B. The entropy of mixing per mole of an alloy containing 50 WTB is A. RlN2. B. RlN2. C. 3RlN2. D. 3RlN2. The correct answer is RlN2. Out of the following, the lowest packing of atoms exists in crystal lattice structure. A. Hexagonal close packed HCP. B. Face-centered cubic FCC. C. Body-centered cubic BCC. D. Simple cubic. The correct answer is simple cubic. Cadmium in zinc leach liquor is removed by cementation using A. Zinc. B. Iron. C. Nickel. D. Copper. The correct answer is zinc. In electrical resistance welding, distortion results from the use of improper A. Clamping methods. B. Electrodes. C. Current. D. Filler material. The correct answer is clamping methods. The conventional mechanical transducer which converts pressure signal to displacement signal is A. Spring. B. Manometer. C. Strain gauge. D. None of these. The correct answer is manometer. Pick out the wrong statement. A. Seam welding, projection welding, spot welding are the classification of electrical resistance welding. B. Electrode tip in spot welding is of copper and the tip diameter should be equal to T, where T plate thickness to be welded. C. In spot welding, two pieces to be joined are overlapped and placed between two electrodes. D. Mild steel sheet cannot be spot welded. The correct answer is mild steel sheet cannot be spot welded. Austempering of steel requires it to be heated to 875 C followed by sudden cooling to 250-525 C, thereby changing austenite to A. sorbite. B. bainite. C. martensite. D. trustite. The correct answer is by night. A compact estimate about the amount of materials handling between various workstations is obtained from the A. Gantt chart, B. bin chart, C. string diagram, D. travel chart. The correct answer is travel chart. Lead is poured into the joint between two pipes. A. mild steel, B. concrete, C. cast iron, D. asbestos cement. The correct answer is cast iron. The concentration of H ions is 4x10⁵ in a solution. Then pH of the solution will be given log 4 0.6, A 4.4, B 5.6, C 8.4, D 2.4. The correct answer is 4.4. Edge hardening is connected with A. Babic metal, B. gun metal, C. stainless steel, D. duralumin. The correct answer is duralumin. With decrease in the grain size of a material, its creep resistance A. increases, B. decreases, C. remains constant, D. either A or B depends on the material. The correct answer is remains constant. Rubber is generally used for making O-rings used for vacuum sealings. A. natural, B. neoprene, C. butadiene, D. nitrile. The correct answer is neoprene.